told me never to mop the third floor alone. I didn't listen. I mean, how could I? It's just a job, right? Push a mop, wipe down counters, clock out before dawn. That's what I told myself when I took the gig at that place, that old hospital on the edge of town, all sagging bricks and broken windows. Been there since the 40s, they say, back when it was more asylum than hospital. People don't talk about it much. Nobody likes remembering the kind of place it was. But I needed the money. Night janitor. Third shift. Easy, quiet, or so I thought. But before you learn my dark secret, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell, and hit that like button, and get ready to listen to the nightmare. My name's Ellie. I don't know why I'm telling you this, except I can't stop hearing it. The sounds, the things I saw up there. It's been 3 weeks, and I still wake up with my hands shaking, feeling like something's standing at the foot of my bed. I need to get this out. Maybe if I say it out loud, it'll stop following me. That hospital has this word, 3rd floor, West Wing. It's been locked off since the 70s. They don't let anyone up there, not even staff. There's a story about it, one of those whispers you catch from the older nurses when they think you're not listening. Back in 73, something happened. Patients, dozens of them, just vanished. No bodies, no traces. One night they were there, moaning in their beds, and the next morning, gone. Beds still warm, restraints dangling loose, charts scattered like someone left in a hurry. The papers called it a mass escape, but nobody ever found them. Not a single one. They sealed the ward after that. Said it was structural damage, asbestos, whatever excuse they could pin on it. But the nurses, they'd lower their voices and say it wasn't right. Said they heard things up there after, notes, footsteps, voices calling names nobody knew. I didn't believe it. Ghost stories are just that, stories. And I had my own reasons for being there. My dad, he was a patient there once. Back in 72, right before it all went down. He wasn't well. Schizophrenia, they said. I was just a kid when he disappeared. Mom told me he ran off, but I found his name months and years later in an old hospital ledger I dug up at the library. Thomas Grayson, room 317, 3rd floor west. Then he was gone. No record of discharge, no nothing. It's why I took the job. I thought maybe I'd find something. A clue. A piece of him. Stupid, right? That night, 3 weeks ago, I was mopping the 2nd floor. It was late, maybe 2 a.m. The hospital's quiet then, just the hum of the old fluorescents and the occasional beep from a monitor down the hall. My supervisor, Carl, he's the scruffled guy with a smoker's cough. He'd always say, Ellie, stay off the 3rd floor. Ain't safe, and you don't need to be up there. I'd nod, promise I wouldn't. But that night, Carl called in sick. It was just me. Me in that big, empty building. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe it was the silence, pressing in like it was daring me. Maybe it was Dad's name echoing in my head, Thomas Grayson, room 317. I grabbed my mop, my bucket, and I took the service stairs up. The door to the 3rd floor was locked, but the latch was so rusty it gave with one good shove. The air hit me first. Thick, stale, like something sealed up too long. It smelled like rot, wet plaster, and something sharper, sour, like old medicine gone bad. The lights didn't work, of course. Just my flashlight, cutting through the dark in this thin low beam. The ward was wrong. The floor creaked under my boots, loud and sharp, like it was grunting. Paint peeled off the walls and long, curling strips. and there were these stains, dark, uneven smears that didn't look like water damage. Beds were still there, rusted frames chipped against the walls, mattresses sagging and stained. I kept telling myself it was nothing, just an old building. But then I heard it. A whisper. So faint I thought it was the wind at first, slipping through a cracked window. But there were no windows open. It was coming from down the hall. I should have turned back. God, I should have turned back. But I didn't. I followed it. My mop sloshed in the bucket, this wet, heavy sound that made my skin crawl. The whispers got louder, not words, not really, just sounds. Like voices overlapping, too many to count, rising and falling. I kept going, past room 310, 311. The numbers painted on the doors were faded, but I could still read them. My flashlight flickered, just for a second, and I swear the shadows stretched, like they were reaching for me, long and thin, curling up the walls. Room 317 was at the end of the hall. Dad's room. The door was ajar, just a crack, and the whispers, they were coming from inside. I pushed it open, and the hinges screamed, this high, awful screech that echoed down the ward. Inside it was worse. The bed was there, tilted to one side, restraints hanging off the edges like they'd been torn free. There was a chart on the floor, yellowed and curling, Thomas Grayson, admitted October 72. My hands shook so bad I could barely hold the flashlight. I kept saying to myself, it's okay, Ellie, it's just paper, it's just... But then I saw the writing. Scratched into the wall above the bed, deep and jagged, like someone used a knife, they see you. I dropped the chart. The whisper stopped, just stopped. Dead silence. And then I felt it. A cold hand, fingers, light as a breeze, brushing the back of my neck. I spun around, but there was nothing. Just darkness. My flashlight beam darted across the room, catching dust motes, the bed, the wall, but nothing else. I told myself it was my hair, the air, anything. But it happened again. Harder. Like a grip, ice cold, pressing into my skin. I ran. I didn't think, I just ran. The bucket tipped over, water splashing everywhere, and the floor creaked so loud it sounded like the whole world was collapsing. The whispers started again, louder, angrier, chasing me down the hall. I could hear them.
Ellie. Ellie.
My name over and over, like they knew me. Shadows moved in the corners of my eyes, stretching, twisting, too fast to be real. I got to the stairs, slammed the door behind me, and I swear I heard something slam back. Hard. Like it was trying to get out. I didn't stop running till I was in the parking lot. My keys, I don't even know how I got them in the ignition. My hands were shaking so bad. I drove home, locked every door, and just sat there, staring at the wall till the sun came up. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt that hand on my neck again. Heard my name in those voices. The next day, I called Carl. Told him I'd been up there. I had to know if he'd heard the stories, if he knew about Dad. He got real quiet. Said, Ellie, I told you not to go up there. You don't mess with that place. I pressed him, begged him. Finally, he said there was a rumor. Back in 73, when those patients vanished, staff reported seeing things. Shadows that didn't match the people standing there. Voices calling from empty rooms. One nurse swore she saw a patient, a man, standing in room 317, staring at her through the door's little window. But when she opened it, he was gone, just like the rest. He said something else, something that keeps me up at night. He said, whatever's up there, it doesn't let go. Once it sees you, it knows you. I laughed it off, you know? Tried to. Then I found something in my coat pocket, the one I wore that night. A piece of paper folded up tight. It was from that chart, Dad's chart. I didn't put it there. I know I didn't. And written on it, in a handwriting that wasn't mine, "Ellie, they're waiting." I stared at that note for, God, I don't know how long. The ink was smudged, like it had been written in a hurry, but the words, they burned into me. They're waiting. Waiting for what? For me. I threw it across the room, watched it flutter under the couch like some dead thing. But I couldn't leave it there. I crawled over, hands shaking, and picked it up again. That's when I noticed the back. More writing, fainter, scratched in pencil so I had to tilt it under the lamp to read it. 3rd floor. Midnight. Come back. Come back. I couldn't. I wouldn't. I tore the paper up, flushed it down the toilet, scrubbed my hands till they were raw. That night I dreamed about it. The ward. The whispers. Only this time I wasn't running. I was standing in room 317, and the bed, it wasn't empty. There was a shape under the sheet, thin and still, like a body that hadn't moved in decades. I reached for the sheet, my hands moving like they weren't mine, and when I pulled it back, it was Dad. His face, pale, hollow, eyes wide open, staring right at me. His lips didn't move, but I heard his voice, raspy and low. "Ellie, they're waiting." I woke up screaming, tangled in my blankets, the clock glowing 3:17 a.m. I told myself it was just a dream. Stress, guilt, something normal. But the next night, it happened again. Same dream, same room, same Dad. Only this time, he sat up. Slow, jerky, like his bones were cracking. He pointed at the door, and the whispers, they came from everywhere, a chorus of voices, all saying my name. I woke up again, and there was water on the floor. A puddle right by my bed, stinking of that sour rot from the ward. I hadn't spilled anything. I live alone. Where did it come from? I stopped sleeping after that. Coffee, energy drinks, anything to keep my eyes open. But it didn't matter. The whispers, they didn't stay in my dreams. I'd be washing dishes, and I'd hear it faint behind the running water. "Ellie. Ellie." I'd turn off the faucet, hold my breath, and it'd stop. Then, 2 nights ago, I was in the shower. The steam was thick, the water loud, and I heard it again, louder, closer, right outside the curtain. I ripped it open, slipped on the tiles, and there was nothing. But the mirror was fogged up, and written in the condensation, big, uneven letters, "Midnight." I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know. Was it real? Was it Dad? Or something else? Last night, I went back. I didn't want to, I swear, but it was like my feet weren't mine. I drove to that hospital, parked in the same spot, stared up at that dark, rotting building. The 3rd floor windows were black, except room 317. That faint flicker again, like a candle someone kept lighting. I grabbed my flashlight, a kitchen knife, stupid, I know, but it made me feel braver, and I went in. The stairs creaked worse this time, each step echoing like a gunshot. The air was heavier, colder, like it was pressing me down. When I pushed the door open, the whispers hit me all at once, a wall of sound, buzzing, overlapping, screaming my name. I stumbled, dropped the knife, and it skittered across the floor, disappearing into the dark. I whispered to myself, "Just get to the room, Ellie. Just see." The flashlight beam shook in my hand, catching those stained walls, those twisted shadows. They weren't just moving now, they were dancing, stretching into shapes with too many arms, too many heads. I got to room 317, The door was wide open this time, swinging slow on its hinges, like it was waiting for me. Inside, the bed was made. Clean sheets, tucked tight, like someone had just been there. The chart was back on the floor, Dad's chart, but it was different. Pages were added, handwritten, names I didn't know, dates stretching back decades. And at the bottom, in that same jagged script, Ellie Grayson. My name, with last night date. I stepped back, and the floor, it moved. Soft, wet, like I was standing in mud. I looked down, and it was water, black, thick, seeping up through the cracks, pulling around my boots. That's when I saw them. In the corner, shapes. Tall, thin, hunched over, their heads tilted wrong, like their necks were broken. They didn't move, just watched. Eyes, too many eyes, glinting in the dark, catching my flashlight beam. The whispers turned into a scream, one voice now, deep and guttural.
You came back.
I turned to run, but the door slammed shut. Hard. The lock clicked, and the room went cold, so cold my breath fogged up, my teeth chattering. I pounded on the door, screaming, "Let me out, let me out." But the wood, it felt alive, pulsing under my fists. The shapes moved closer. Slow, dragging, their limbs cracking with every step. I pressed against the door, flashlight slipping from my hands, rolling across the floor. The beam hit the bed, and Dad was there. Sitting up, just like in the dream, his eyes wide, unblinking. He didn't look at me. He looked past me, at them. His mouth opened, and the sound came out of the wail, low and endless, like every pain he'd ever felt spilling out at once. The shapes stopped, turned to him, and then they smiled. Teeth, sharp, too many, gleaming in the dark. I don't know how I got out. The door just opened. I fell into the hall, crawled, ran, didn't stop till I was in my car, sobbing, clawing at the steering wheel. The knife was gone. The flashlight gone. But when I got home, I checked my pockets. Another note. Wet, crumpled, smelling like that black water. It said, "They know you now. They'll wait forever." And under it, a drawing. A sketch of me, standing in that room, surrounded by those things, their hands reaching. That was last night. I haven't slept. I can't. The whispers, they're in my house now. Not just at night, every hour, every minute. I hear them in the walls, under the floor, in the hung of the fridge.
Ellie. Ellie.
I found more water this morning. A trail leading from my bed to the front door, like something came in. I locked it. But the handle, it's cold, always cold now, like something's holding it from the other side. I drove by that hospital again today. The third floor, all the windows were lit. Every single one flickering like 100 candles. And in room 317, I saw him. Dad. Standing there, staring down at me. But he wasn't alone. They were with him, those shapes, guarding the window. I heard it then, even with the car windows up.
Come back, Ellie. Come back.
I sped off, but the sound, it followed me. It's in my head now, in my bones. And the water, it's pulling under my chair as I record this. Black, stinking, moving like it's alive. I don't know what they want. Dad, or me, or something worse. But I know this, they're not up there anymore. They're here. With me. And they're waiting. Ever felt something watching you, at work, at home, anywhere? That cold breath on your skin, that sound you can't explain. Tell me below, I need to know I'm not the only one. And subscribe for more whispering nightmares. Please. I don't think I can stop them alone.